There has been a lot of news, excitement, and hype around Ethereum recently, and new investors are flocking in because they don't want to miss out on the huge potential gains that Ethereum is promising. Chances are, if you're watching this, you weren't invested or interested in cryptocurrency at all just a few weeks ago. Most retail investors looking to get into Ethereum now are just looking for massive gains and don't really understand what they're investing in, which can be very dangerous because without knowing what you're really buying, you're much more likely to panic sell after a correction. Very similar to the correction that we just had a few days ago. And I'm sure a lot of you actually did panic sell, which is fine, but that was less likely to happen if you really understood what you were buying and had a longer term outlook on Ethereum. In this video, I'm going to be briefly explaining what Ethereum really is and why so many investors and institutions are looking to get into Ethereum. And by the end of this video, I'll be discussing where the price of Ethereum should be heading in the future, so make sure to stick around until then. Before we start, I want to remind you that the absolute best way to maximize gains in your crypto portfolio is to smash that like button. And also, if you're looking for a channel that doesn't just spoon feed you hype or fear and gives you a more rational big picture overview of the market, then make sure to hit subscribe. Also, comment sections are filled with scammers recently looking to take advantage of all the new meat. So make sure you don't contact or call or message any of the phone numbers that people leave in the comment sections, because 10 times out of 10, they're just looking to steal your cryptocurrency. To understand what Ethereum is, we need to start with smart contracts. A smart contract is simply a computer program that cannot be stopped, altered, or manipulated after being deployed. So when you go to log into your email and you type your password in and click enter, there is some code on some server that's checking to see if your password is correct. If it is, you're taken to your inbox. And if it's not, you're shown an error message that says incorrect password. This is an example of code checking some condition and performing an action based on that condition. And this happens all the time, all around us. Actually, whenever you interact with technology, there's a form of contract that's happening where the code is checking certain conditions and performing actions based on those conditions. But what makes Ethereum so special is that this code is no longer running on a single computer or server. Instead, it's running on a decentralized blockchain known as the Ethereum network. Decentralized means it's not in one single location, but rather on a bunch of different computers, meaning it can't be stopped, manipulated, or altered. So in summary, a smart contract is just a computer program that executes certain actions based on specific conditions, but instead it's running on a decentralized network. For example, let's say we want to create a smart contract to facilitate crowdfunding. Our smart contract would say, if 10 Ethereum is sent to the contract by a specific date, then that Ethereum is released to the founders. Otherwise, it's returned back to the investors. So again, we're checking a specific condition, which in this case is the 10 Ethereum. And if the condition is met, we're performing a certain action, which is sending that Ethereum to the startup. And otherwise, we're sending it back to the investors. And the great thing is, once this contract is up, there's no way to take it down or manipulate it. Ethereum is the network of computers that is running these smart contracts and executing these transactions. And ETH is the currency used to pay fees to these computers. So you can think of Ethereum as a platform kind of like the App Store, where developers can deploy these decentralized applications, or dApps, which are simply applications running by smart contracts. Ethereum is not a product solving a single problem. Instead, it's an entire platform, meaning it's not limited or bottlenecked by a single market or industry size, kind of how like the App Store is not limited by a single industry, and all sorts of industries can create apps that run on the iPhone through the App Store. The fact that Ethereum is a platform rather than a single product solving a single problem makes its potential growth infinite and not limited by any market or single industry size. One giant industry that Ethereum is already impacting is real estate. Real estate titles can actually be tokenized and put on the Ethereum network. And we can actually write smart contracts that check to see if a buyer sent the right amount of Ethereum to the smart contract. And if it is, then the real estate title is actually transferred over to the buyer and the Ethereum is transferred over to the seller automatically, completely removing the middleman from the picture. And this isn't a distant dream that will happen in like 10 years. This is actually already happening right now. Ethereum has the power of actually completely removing middlemen from our society and making everything peer-to-peer, including everything to do with finance as seen in DeFi. Ethereum's also going to tokenize gold, stocks, real estate, bonds, and all sorts of video game items, and actually anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. And this will completely remove middlemen and may actually make companies like Uber obsolete, where Uber is kind of like the middleman that makes it possible for the riders to communicate with the drivers. Instead, Ethereum will make it so that the riders can directly communicate with the drivers and that the drivers can take 100% of the money paid by the riders, completely removing the need for Uber, another middleman. In my opinion, Ethereum is still in its very early days and is changing the foundation of the world as we know it right before our eyes. Recently, a lot of good and bullish news has been pouring on us about Ethereum. Firstly, Grayscale, which is the largest cryptocurrency investment trust, has reported that they're seeing a wave of clients interested mostly in Ethereum over Bitcoin. The fact that institutions and hedge funds are reporting that a lot of their clients are interested in Ethereum is always a good and bullish sign. The second piece of good news for Ethereum is that the CME, or Chicago Merchants Exchange, is going to be launching Ethereum futures in Q1 of 2021, which further legitimizes Ethereum and gives the green light for even more smart money to come in. The third and most explosive piece of good news is that we're seeing a huge wave of retail investors interested in investing in Ethereum. Google Trends tells us that this has just begun. These retail investors think, which I disagree with, that they've missed the train on Bitcoin and usually look to buy into altcoins. And the biggest, most trusted cryptocurrency after Bitcoin is Ethereum, which hasn't even broken its all-time high yet, whereas Bitcoin has doubled its all-time high. Finally, over on the BTC ETH chart, we can see that Ethereum is still nowhere near its all-time high relative to Bitcoin, meaning if you're like me and you want to accumulate more Bitcoin, Ethereum might be the right move. Now, taking into account all this bullish news about Ethereum and considering all the retail and institutional investors that are likely going to be entering the space throughout 2021, I think it's pretty safe to say that Ethereum will crash upwards. I think that a 5K Ethereum is actually pretty likely in 2021. Now, for a lot of you that might be insane, and for some of you that might actually be pretty conservative. And the truth is, no one really knows where Ethereum's going. However, it's pretty safe to say that Ethereum is still in its early stages, and we can expect the price of ETH to appreciate quite a bit in 2021 and the years to come. And again, as of now, the price increase in Ethereum is largely driven by speculation. However, over time, that speculation will actually become a lot less and Ethereum will really start to gain its ground. If you enjoyed this video and got any kind of value from it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more crypto videos like this one, then make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you want to join the community, I left a link to my Discord server down in the description below, so make sure you go ahead and click that as well. Finally, before you leave, I want to remind you that if you haven't already installed the best crypto tracker, then you're doing something wrong. Portfolio View is an app I developed initially for myself because I simply didn't like all the other crypto trackers on the market because they were too bloated with unnecessary features and were too complicated to use. Portfolio View is the simplest, best looking, and easiest to use cryptocurrency tracker and portfolio manager and still has all the features you need. On top of that, there's no subscription model and it's a free app. It's only available on iOS for now, but I hope to launch an Android version soon. Check out the link in the description below.